See, our show hasn't aired yet, so I have to be careful.
Tom, it sounds like you didn't even know that Loki was going to be resurrected in Endgame until much later. Do they keep things from you? How do you navigate all of that?
I did. The biggest secret I kept for a long time was that scene in Infinity War. I remember going in to meet Kevin and Lou before we started filming Ragnarok. Before they sent the script, they were kind of talking me through the story, and Taika, I think, wasn't in town at that time. So they were sort of describing what happens with Thor and arrival of Hela, played by Cate Blanchett, and how Hulk and Ruffalo is going to be on this alien planet at the other end of the universe with Jeff Goldblum as the Grand Master. And I thought, this is great. And then where it was going to end. And then at the end of that meeting, Joe and Anthony Russo came in and they said, we're working on the next Avengers film, and the only completed scene we've locked is the opening. And then they told me what happened in it. And so I then carried that around, sort of knowing that was going to happen for, I guess, 2 years, maybe 2.5 years.
Did you know yet, or did they even say to you, well, we have a plan, we just can't tell you yet? Did they give you any sense of like how they're going to do it?
Initially, Kevin Feige and Louis D'Esposito called me about this, and it was around the spring of 2018, which was when Infinity War was being released into the world. And they said, Disney are going to create this streaming platform, and they have, we're very excited to present ideas to them, and Loki is one of them, in amongst WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier. I was like, okay. And then I was excited, but my first question was, how do we do that? Infinity War was just about to come out. The opening 3 minutes of that film felt extremely final. And
you die. Loki dies.
Yeah. And I said, well, how do we do that? Because they were so sort of conclusive about the way that scene was written. I think even Josh Brolin as Thanos says, no resurrections this time.
No resurrections this time.
Again, I have to be careful of spoilers. I know the show digging into lots of different aspects of Loki and the shapeshifter who is constantly changing shape. So what's his authentic shape? Does he have one? It's about identity in the way that WandaVision maybe is about grief.
And professionally speaking, how is it affected for all of you? How has being part of the MCU changed the trajectories of the kinds of projects you can do outside of the MCU? How has that affected your lives professionally?
I'll answer this genuinely and not make a joke about it. What it allows for all of us is that we all have a number sign above our heads when we make independent films, and whether or not we can sell them internationally to help get financing. It does allow us to be able to do that. So I think that's a great benefit to being a part of such a huge international franchise.
I love these films. I remember going to see the first Iron Man. That was amazing. That was an amazing movie. And everyone in it did amazing work. And the idea that I would ever get to be in anything like that felt so remote at that time for me. I didn't know how on earth I would be able to get, I thought, wow, it's been life-changing because these films mean so much to so many people. When Endgame opened, I was doing a play in London, booked some tickets to a midnight screening, and I went dressed in like a scarf and sat in a cinema in London and watched it with the first crowd. And that's when I realized what an extraordinary event these films are when they come out. Like I wasn't in an industry, it wasn't an audience full of people from our industry, it was an audience, the real audience. And it was such a delight to be kind of in amongst it. And that is a privilege.